incriminating.
The earth is round.
That's right. That's right.
Heard it here
So
first.
Kathy will be joining us here soon. We were just talking about how things go wrong all year, even when it's not Mercury retrograde. And we got into a whole side conversation about astrology versus psychology versus. And
We just got started.
We did. And I'm like, oh, we should probably hit that go live button. We have with us today Lauren. And Lauren, you're here to talk about witchy things because you.
I am. I'm always talking about like equipment and science, and that's fantastic. And it's my heart.
Mm-hmm.
But like sometimes I just want to talk about witchy stuff.
And you have a witchy book.
I have a witchy book, and it's so funny. I can't find the copy of my witchy book. But I did pull up.
You were
I'm
like,
sorry?
hey, I have a book.
Yeah. I definitely have a witchy book that I did pull up a special link to that I'll come back at this live and I'll comment the link to it. I have a link that you can get it right from my publisher at like a little bit of like a discount.
Ooh. Saying good morning to all of our friends.
Hey, oh yeah, there's chats. Oh, I can see them too. How cool.
Yeah. So hey Melanie. Hey Mike and Nike. A little bit of Quechua this Wednesday morning. Shaman talk.
Woo Wednesday.
Yes. I was like, what are we gonna name this? I'm like, Woo Woo Witchy Wednesday.
I love it.
Feel free to ask questions for Lauren. We're going to roll the bus right up to her if you guys have questions on witchy things. Would you say, Lauren, that you're more of a candle worker, an herbal worker, like the mojo trinket types of worker? Do you do it all?
Oh, man. I am a chaos agent like raccoon of all of the things, and then as long as it's like no cultural appropriation, I'm like, give me everything. But it's very big on container stuff, so like the jars, but definitely like candles, herbs, all that stuff. So anything that like a witch in the middle of the bog in the woods would probably have around her house, I likely have in my kitchen, and like I have a big, huge cabinet right here that has all my stuff in it.
Nice. I feel like all of us kids that were out in the woods.
Yes.
And stuff with twigs and mud and leaves. Like, look at us now.
Yes.
This is what
living my childhood dreams now.
Young girls next door to me built this whole thing, and like it's out of sticks and grass, and they found some moss somewhere in one of the yards, and so they had this thing built in their yard. I'm like, those are gonna be my girls. And
yes, future coven.
Let me teach your children.
Can you all hear me? Okay, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yes.
Good. I had to come through my phone because my computer just went. So.
Oh no.
Witchy woo woo.
It wasn't me.
We're blaming Mercury, even though it's not Mercury's fault, but we're still blaming Mercury because we can.
That's right.
It makes us feel better.
Guys, Mercury's a sweet baby angel.
Mercury gets blamed for everything, and then poor Pluto got kicked out of the whole planetary lineup. Like,
listen, I will explain to you why that happened if you want me to. But we said we were going to talk about witchcraft.
Yes.
It's my favorite planet, and I still demand that it's a planet. And can I not do that anymore?
It is a Kuiper Belt object. It is considered kind of like an exoplanet, but it's a Kuiper Belt object. But I will tell you why if you would like to.
Well, I love Neil Tyson, and so I've listened to his chats and all of this.
Yeah. Just Pluto didn't know how to clean up Pluto likes to have trinkets as well. And if you're a planet, you have to have a clean path. You have to have a clean orbit. And Pluto's like, I don't want a clean orbit. I want all of my trinkets and jars and herbs. So it can't be considered a planet because planets are conformists. Pluto is a witch. How about that? That's the witchiest way I could put it.
Yeah, Pluto's a witch out there with their own little.
I think it's weird that they excluded Pluto.
Well, if they were to include Pluto, they would have to include like 30, 40, 50 other objects that we've found beyond and around Pluto. So really, Pluto is with so much of a bigger family now that he's not like the reindeer that gets left out anymore. Now
everybody else's path.
Pluto's like the hot dog of like Kuiper Belt.
I feel like we need a whole separate topic, Lauren, and this is me asking you.
Yes.
We need a whole planetary witchy, because a lot of witches use planet and planet timing in certain types of witchcraft, including the moon.
They do.
And I know, seeing as how you work at a planetarium, which I'm so jealous of, because I love astronomy, you know, talking about how to use that, those times, those shifts, those type of things in planetary magical workings, if people wanted to, because I feel like that could be its own whole hour talk.
So I definitely don't get too deep into planetary alignments when it comes to witchcraft, and I'll tell you why. Because the more you actually learn about the astronomy and about the planets themselves, most of the witchcraft makes zero sense, and it kind of demystifies it. So it's kind of like the killjoy. What I will say is like the moon magic and tidal forces and the Earth's relationship with the moon has strengthened some of just like my spiritual work. But when I'm at the planetarium, there's zero like woo talk, other than the fact that there could be nothing more magical in anybody's practice in the entire world, in the entire history of humanity, that is more magical than the observable universe, period.
Right. I mean, well, when people are like, oh, you have to do this spell on this date because, you know, the moon will be full. And I'm like, the moon is always full. We just can't see it.
The moon is always full. That's why I'll tell people too. I'll be like, are you an unorganized witch? Forget the moon phases, work with the tides, because that's an actual force that is happening between the moon and the Earth, like a real force. The full moon, now I'll say this, and then anybody that's in healthcare or law enforcement gets really, really angry. So I need to tell you, law enforcement and healthcare, this is not a bash at you. This is just me in comparison. Full moon energy, tidal energy, oh no, tidal energy is way more badass. So if you're like a really unorganized witch like me, awesome. You have like 2 times a day that you can, I don't know, hex somebody. Chef's kiss.
Well, you know, it's that whole healthcare workers and everything always say like the night of the full moon, it's always worse in the hospital. It's always worse for
Oh yes. And we are animals, and animals are very much dictated by that, you know, reflection of the sun on the moon's surface to us. There is no like scientific measurement that sort of validates that, but like I get it. It's okay. I was in banking. I'm like, I'll stay away from everything on a full moon. Definitely we stay away from the hospital on the full moon. Like I get it. It's not science, but not everything's going to be science. I believe you guys.
Right.
I've had enough of my own experiences. I'm like, oh, it's just because I'm not really big on tracking the moon, and I actually prefer the new moon over the full moon energy.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm like, I've definitely had enough crazy things happen with situations on a full moon.
Oh yeah,
really. But then again, I mean, it's been nonstop this whole like last 3 weeks, and it can't blame the moon, can't blame Mercury, can't. I mean, it's just stuff.
Sometimes shit just happens.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's entire migration patterns. There are plumes of different types of like algae and stuff that will bloom because of the full moon. Like there's things that happen under a full moon. It's not like beyond possibility that humans go a little cuckoo. It's just humans are so diverse that it's such a hard thing to do any sort of like tracking.
Mm-hmm. Now, Kathy, it looked like you had a question or a comment at one point here, and we talked over you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm just really having some issues here, so I'm a little. I want to be more involved, but because of the technical issues, for whatever reason, they're getting in the way. So if in the middle of something, it's like I disappear or something, it's because of whatever's going on here. But anyways, one of the things I did want to talk to Lauren about is, Lauren, you and I are very good friends, and one of the things about us is we're very different. On paper, we shouldn't be friends. However, because of our differences and everything, we respect that. We respect our differences, which I wish a lot of other people would do as well. So with that being said, I'm going to bring something up that they are the differences a little bit, and it has to do with your scientific thinking, ghosts, and magic. Now, you're also an inventor, a creator of paranormal investigation tools. So my question to you is, because of the science background and everything, and your kind of non-belief on ghosts, how does that all come into play, and why do you create investigative tools if you don't have that scientific backing?
So I do love this question, and it is also why I like to be very open about my spiritual beliefs too, because it is kind of like that dichotomy of okay, Lauren, that doesn't make any sense. And I think that it's very important for people to, and it's okay if people don't. There's a lot of scientists that are complete atheists because they're just like, I really need to have kind of proof of something. And that's completely valid. And that is in itself, a morality and a belief. I grew up really loving the mystery and the wonder of astronomy and of science and of chemistry. And when I started to just open up spiritually, I had so many different spiritual paths, from studying yoga in India, and I have been to Israel, and I have been to different countries that have all of these different spiritual belief systems, wanting to sort of indulge and experience those things. And it's because I was trying to dismantle something, finding where I fit in. And my witchy practice, again, isn't kind of this religious bullet point. So I don't practice Wicca, I don't work with deities, anything like that. A lot of it is very nature, not in a Wiccan sense, very nature connected, herbs, jars, things like that. A lot of it is psychological practices that help me to come to terms with things like grief and anger and the unknown and wanting something so badly that, it affects me emotionally. And witchcraft helps with all of those things. Do I think that I'm doing something? Well, I have to, because that's how the psychology of it works. If I feel like my workings are truly doing something, it helps me emotionally. And somebody who suffers from mental illness and is on, medications, it's like another form of medicine for me. And then in terms of creating equipment for paranormal investigators, if I were to go based purely on science, I would not be in the paranormal. And the paranormal is where I've been before I started really diving into the scientific side of it, which was another me trying to dismantle it, just like my spiritual practice. And I don't reject the belief of ghosts because of science. I reject that assumption that this entire system of unexplained just ends at dead people. So I reject this idea that this system is just this, it's ghosts. It's almost like a disbelief in ghost is because it's that's too simple. Even though it's ghosts, so it's totally out of the norm of the normal, but it's too simple for me. And to keep that wonder, the main pieces of equipment that I design are for measuring and finding the patterns and the changes in the atmosphere. It's very explicitly stated on like my manuals that they're not communication devices. But I do have personal pieces that I've built that I do not sell because of just morality reasons that are like playing with communication, because I think that that wonder is still so important to have there, even though I'm not like, oh, this BB thing is for ghosts to touch to tell you that they're there, because that's such a closed system. And I think that the reason why the paranormal hasn't progressed as much as it should is because we need to blow that system wide open. It needs to be pushed out to like, maybe it's not about humans. Maybe it's not dead people. Maybe it's something bigger, and our human minds can only perceive it as something that is innately personal and innately us and innately human. And I've had lots of discussions with like psychics and mediums about this idea. And I love when I'm talking to somebody who's like, you know, oh, I see dead people for a living. And then I had this discussion, and then they're like, especially like two specific psychics that I work with have been like, you know, I'm going to be honest, like if I really sit down and start to think this through, it's almost like I'm not seeing people. I actually don't really know what I'm seeing, but they're presenting themselves and communicating like they're people. And it's almost like I'm thinking they're just doing that for me, or I'm just reading the data like that because I'm a human and I'm interpreting it like a human. That was a really big answer.
Very thorough answer. Very thorough.
I love that. I get asked that a lot. So it's a good question, and it's a valid question. And I mean, I love that imbalance, because this is the paranormal. Like the imbalances are what makes this so great. And I don't want to box myself in.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm gonna ask you another question, because this one always our trip that one time when I think it was to Indiana, you and I went on a trip, and you remember what happened?
The experience with my mom.
Yes.
So Kathy and I were in the car, and I almost killed us for fun because my mom had just passed away, and this goes perfectly with the idea of witchcraft being this psychological tool and this medicine for me to deal with grief and to deal with uncertainty. And me and my mom had this really like weird dynamic. I was her primary caretaker for the majority of like end of life for, you know, a few years, just financially, not really emotionally though. And she passed away, and it was a little like weirder to me than I thought it would be, because I never really had that mom relationship with her. And Kathy, it ties in that it was you, by the way, with this. So I never really had that mom relationship with her. And I had helped Kathy with the group that she was a part of at an event, and I was running their table. And there was a woman who approached me and said, like, you know, I have a message for you. Is it okay if I share it? I don't want any money or anything. And I was like, yeah, sure. Okay. And she shared this message with me. And in hindsight, it was a very interesting message, but I think I connected the dots more. And I'm not saying that, you know, charlatan or anything like that, because I do not know how to study that phenomena. So I can't say whether or not it's real or not real, but me not being able to validate it does not automatically make me think that it's real necessarily, especially when it comes to like psychic medium work, because there are a lot of people that just take advantage. But this woman is actually very kind, very decent, very nice, was not trying to exploit or manipulate. She was just like, I have a message. This is it. Here it is. And it was like it was very healing to hear. And then on the drive home, I like look over at Kathy, who has purple hair. And I look over at Kathy, and I like see the image of my mom sitting next to me. And I like swear. And we're like,
I'm like, what the are you doing?
Yeah. There was a lot of crazy things that happened. A lot of crazy things happen when Kathy and I are together in a car. But in hindsight, when I think about that too, like the fact that I had this like healing moment thinking about this message from this person who like, you know, gave me this thing that felt very good to me. And then I feel like I almost projected that image onto you, Kathy, because now I'm going to like cry or something, because with our friendship, there are these moments where I do feel like you give me the love and like the guidance and the caring that like I didn't get from my mom, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Kathy and I are going to start having ugly cry faces.
Well, you know, it was,
and that was a magical moment.
It was a magical moment. It was also a magical moment because I've never seen you cry before. And you were crying, which was, I was like, shit, what do I do now? I've never seen her cry. How do I act? So it's like a hand on the hand.
But like Kathy has been just a very close person to me, like not just as, you know, one of my best friends. And it's not like, oh, she's like, you're not always like my mom to me. We cause far too much trouble for you to just be like a maternal figure to me. But like, there are a lot of moments where I do get a lot of healing of that mother wound from people that are around me. And I really think in that moment, my brain was like, this is one of the people that's going to help. And that's kind of like the witchcraft piece. That's my brain. And there's all sorts of conversations I can have about the things that my brain has like steered me from. It's very weird. And that's kind of like the witchcraft piece where I'm like, I'm sure psychologically that could be explainable. But to me, when I look over and I see my mom where Kathy's sitting, and I think about what that means to me and my brain and why my brain showed me that's magical to me. And I take that message very seriously. Oh no, we can't hear you.
Come back.
Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I was looking up your book earlier, so sorry. Back before with your long answer of Kathy's first question, I was waiting for you to say science has proven that we can create like our reality, right? That whole, what was it, like a little micron or something that would only appear when viewed and would disappear when you quit looking at it. So that's where it's like kind of witchcraft becomes that intention that is put out. And then, you know, so if you're focusing and you're intending and you're staring at the candle, you're staring at this. And then, you know, it's like kind of in the paranormal, if you're intending to see what could be there. Right now, that kind of gets into the line of what could be, what is really there that you could be seeing, or what could be there because you want it to be there.
So it is very magical, but I do want to. So that is it's a framework in physics, and I need to get the actual name of that framework in physics. So it's not observer bias, it's the observer effect. So the observer effect is not necessarily, observer effect is actually a very explainable and normal occurrence, but because we had never before had the ability to drill down or mathematically look at particles in a way that it is very mystical and it's very magical. It's a mathematical framework of adding variables to something that innately change it, because we can't actually observe particles in their natural states without introducing light, because we can't see without light, any kind of light. So IR is light. Then along the visible spectrum, the light that we can see is made up of other particles called photons. So if we're observing a particle without light, we cannot see it. And the only way to see it is by introducing photons, which are also particles. And those will innately affect what that particle is doing. So we have no way to truly observe particles in their natural state. So that's kind of this like observer effect of like they're there when we can look at them, but we don't, like Schrodinger's cat almost. Although I will say, I'm not really sure I haven't looked into this fully because it's very difficult to sort through a lot of the stories and frameworks that we see on even science magazines are being told in a way so that we can understand them. But physics is numbers. We can't actually fully observe what's happening in these stories. So they're mathematical equations that make sense because we have mathematical equations to understand them. So in terms of things like quantum entanglement or observer effect or superposition, those things are, can I curse?
We should be okay because all of our
freaking magical. We'll just freaking it. Very magical, but they don't apply to our bigger matter. They don't apply to us. Now, because there are instances where it's like, well, I did this working and it worked. So that's fine. 100%. Lay down your protections, do your circles, put that biatch in a jar. Like, do those things because it doesn't necessarily, we don't have to find the physics and the math to explain something that's real to us. As long as you are doing your workings and you're not trying to dictate other people's bodies, you are not trying to force other people into believing what you believe, you are not trying to tell people how they are allowed to love or live their life or be who they are personally, your workings are perfectly fine. Now, don't get me wrong. If you need to hex a bitch, that's not dictating to somebody else's life. That's just you. Sometimes you gotta jar somebody. Sometimes you gotta put them in the freezer. Okay, I get it.
Landlords.
But I'm talking like, this isn't like, ooh, I'm going to do this working to pass this legislation. So, Jasmine can't live as Jasmine. She has to be who she was born at. Like, that is what I mean by don't do stuff that's dictating other people's lives. You need to make a bitch's teeth fall out, do it. But, but like and we don't have to explain it mathematically with physics because it's just not there. So even though on the quantum level, quantum physics, and people get mad at me all the time with this, it is magical when the math is there, but it is not magic. And there are parallels that we can go back and forth with, but like physics is such a deeply quantum mechanics is such a deeply difficult, number heavy, very specific framework that is so rigid that like we don't want that in our magical practice because then nothing works. So like don't worry about that. We don't need to. Things that I have had happen, whether or not I made them happen or not, but the intention was there and then something came about it. I mean, that doesn't affect whether or not I'm going to work, but I'm never going to find the math that proves it because it's not there and it doesn't need to be. It's there for quantum level. It's there for particles, but it's not going to be there for our big. And don't worry, like the whole point of me studying physics and astronomy in college at 40 years old is because I want to learn the math. I want to see if there are secrets. I want to see if there's a passcode. But I'm never going to use something that doesn't apply to try to validate it. Because I'm like, that's not magical. I'm sorry, that's not magical. That's like old school witches being like, well, I'll just switch my witchcraft to be very like churchy and godlike. Ew, no, we don't want that.
Well, I mean,
no offense to Christian witches. Oh my gosh, no, that's beautiful. I love a Jesus witch. Chef's kiss.
Well, that's the thing with magic and math. It can change. Science learns and grows and adjusts for what we learn.
I can't tell you how weird the math is in physics. Like,
I can't do physics. I am a visual type of learner.
You probably can't see these equations, but
Physics and chemistry were like my big no's in school. I was like really good at everything else, and those were like my kryptonite. So
Dude,
Like,
the math is so weird. It's magic.
give me geometry because it's physical things I can see and technically manipulate in a way, but math and no. And now you want to throw the alphabet into it? Get out of here.
Yeah. You don't want
Do
that
it.
calculus? You don't want those differential equations, Melissa? No?
No.
I love trig.
lasted maybe 3 weeks in like Calc 2, and then I'm like, get me out. Like,
You're
I
like, I can't do this anymore.
cannot struggle through this, and my GPA is too high to be ruined by this.
You're
Get
like,
me
F
out.
math. I'm telling, well, and that's what, honestly, that's such an important thing to say too, because even in the paranormal, we have, for all intents and purposes, sorry, y'all, like charlatans that are just like, physics proves this technique. Physics proves it. Physics proves it. And it's like, show me the equation. And this isn't like, haha, holier than thou, but I did a really, really simple academic paper that I presented at a symposium about the connection between kinetic energy, static electricity, and electromagnetic radiation in terms of using it as a technique for how we use our tools in the field. When I tell you there's math equations in it, because it's like, I'm not going to, and it's a very simple, because I don't have that upper level math to decipher this, like, oh, quantum entanglement, that, you know, that's what this is. Do you know, like, show me the math equation. Do you know how hard it is to find the equations for like some of the levels of string theory that ghost hunters love to talk about? Do you know how hard it is? Because the equations are like 30 pages long.
Blech.
Jeez.
Blech. No,
I
thank you.
tried.
If it's longer than
I
about
wouldn't
3
even try.
pages, I'm out.
Right? I was
Thanks
like,
for
I can't,
taking it
I don't
on
think
for
I can
all
do
of us.
this.
Thanks for taking one for the team, because
I did
none of us
one
were gonna do it.
presentation for string theory for ghost hunters, and I had 2 pages of just some like snippets of the math that I could like explain, and people were getting up and leaving. And then I heard them later like, that's not what that is, and I'm like, it's what it is. It's what it is, guys.
You're like, here's my degree. Show me yours.
Oh,
You
well,
know?
I know. In 3 years, I'll have it.
Okay. Yay.
Still,
We'll celebrate.
well, I'm a sophomore, so yeah. And then I am going to get my master's. So, but I'm also taking summer classes. So hopefully more like 2.5 years. I'll be good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then we
Nice.
really won't follow all of this. We'll be even
No,
more than we
I
are
want to
now.
be a science communicator. Like when I say I'm getting my degree to just like further the understanding, I'm going to be a weird fringe scientist. Like they know it at the planetarium. I know it. They're just like, just keep it calm here. Okay. And I'm like, okay, cool. But I'm so glad I didn't have to take, oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm taking 3 physics classes next semester because I'm like, all I want is to just talk about quantum mechanics, and it won't be quantum mechanics, but that's okay because what we'll be talking about in physics, it will still be incredibly interesting. But all I want to do is learn the crazy math. That's all I want to do. Which is crazy. If my math teacher were watching this, then they would be like, babe, you basically like flunked math in high school. And I'm like, I know.
Abducted her and changed
But
her.
now I'm medicated.
The aliens from Pluto came and changed her math DNA.
I'm telling you, Pluto's happy. Pluto's happier now.
Good.
I promise.
It gets to be the purple sheep of the planetary family. Huh?
I mean,
Pluto
you
also
guys
goes into
moving
retrograde.
him out of the whole solar system ruined.
He's not out of the whole solar system.
Well, out of the fun little equation, and Kathy, you probably remember this because you're old enough like me.
Pluto was a part when I was in
Remember the
school.
vampires? I'm aging myself as well. The whole Mr. Vampire uses no, steak, or something, using no pepper. And I'm like, using no what? You took Pluto out of my little equation. Because it was like Mercury, Venus.
Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. You can still say Pluto's still there. Pluto isn't gone.
Using no what? Paprika? Using no, like, using...
Turn it into a K because it's the Kuiper Belt. We have discovered do you know, okay, so here is where, pretend like this is what we learned about, because Pluto was a planet when I was in school. What we learned about the solar system is like this big, okay? What we have discovered, the size of the solar system is this, but it includes 3 miles that way and 3 miles that way.
Small, dirty ice balls. I love it.
Like crazy. Yes. No, not small. There are some Kuiper Belt objects that are a little bit bigger. There's some big stuff. Guys, the Kuiper Belt is cool.
Now, for anybody coming in later, Lauren, you work at a planetarium and you give the talks.
I do. I give the star talks.
So that's where
the
I'm like, I'm
kids.
jealous because I love astronomy, even though under the woo-woo belt, astrology is the one that I call bullshit on the most.
I make astrology jokes, don't worry.
But you know, the whole witchcrafty, and I like that we're getting into the science that can either kind of relate into or kind of.
I'm just gonna I have to interject. This is so funny because I told Kathy, I was like, I want to come on there and I don't want to talk about science. It's like,
how did that go?
I can't help it.
But that, because what I was
so cool
was science and even witchcraft are flexible, because as you learn, it changes. Equations change in science. Your craft changes as you find things that work better for you, or you learn something new.
Oh yeah, or you see farther.
Hoo-wee. Yeah, and I feel like at some point, some of the science is going to finally match some of certain parts of witchcraft, right?
Oh my gosh, it already has.
So, you know, it's
oh yeah.
Do you want to talk science on this?
Oh, I mean, it has, especially in the medical industry, in psychology, there has been tons of things that humans thought were witchcraft or demons or gods, and we find out that it's retrograde is literally a perfect example. Now, sometimes it's demystified, but sometimes it just makes things seem crazier. Like, it's always, and we all know that they're out there. There are people that like deny space, think the earth is flat, all this other stuff. But they'll be into things like Mars being in retrograde. And I'm like, if you think that I'm being like a hypocrite, believing in witchcraft and science, like, let me tell you something. But like, figuring out like retrograde isn't this magic. So retrograde means like to travel backwards. And so it was thought that when something goes into retrograde, it travels backwards. It's this like supernatural event. And it's not. It's just our view of the solar system of something just doing its orbit. And we are traveling, and then they are traveling around its orbit, but our orbit is closer, so we pass by them twice. So it looks like they're going backwards and then forwards. It's just like if you're running around a track and that track is really wide, somebody on the outside and the inside, they start you like behind each other. That's like a good example of how retrograde works. You'll start to run and you pass them, and then they pass you when it straightens back out again. So it looks like they're going backwards and then forwards. That's what retrograde is. Nothing's moving backwards, nothing's supernatural, nothing's mystical. Same thing with like blood moons. Same thing with the moon looking bigger sometimes. Not a thing. Not a thing. Believe it or not. And this is one thing that even my brain is like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's bigger. It's bigger. It's not. Even like the supermoon, even the other night, the moon was gold and it was like, looked like it was close to the horizon, and it looked huge. Same exact size as if it's up in the sky. Our brains will see it compared to the buildings and the trees that are around it, or even just the horizon itself, and it will appear bigger to our brains than it is when it's high up in the sky. If you take, and I had one of my friends do this with her niece and nephew, a toilet paper roll, and you point it out all the way and you look at it through the toilet paper roll and you like take a picture of it or whatever. Do it later on when it's up in the sky. Same exact size. And then you're like, what the fuck? But that's demystifying. There's also things that it's like in medicine, so many things that we thought herbal remedies, procedure, tying off something to make sure that it stops bleeding, kind of things. Like there's a lot of medical practices that started out as like the granny witchcraft.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things in like Appalachia that are being studied medically because it's like, this is incredible. And it has made medical advances. There is I want to say Cleveland Clinic is one of the hospitals that gets really progressive in terms of working with things psychologically. They do Reiki, and that is something that is psychologically proven because it is so important for babies to have skin-to-skin contact. It does something to our brains. So that hands-on, or even just the hovering above with Reiki, whether or not I'm feeding energy into your body from the source, I am using my human, motherly, loving, healing energy, and your body responds to that, even just psychologically. And it's used in hospitals. That's not me saying that, ooh, the witchcraft is real. It's saying that human connection and human contact is something magical that is being used medically. There are doctors that will literally prescribe like grounding and trees to people. How much witchier can you get? Because being in nature, being away from the concrete jungle helps our health. It helps. And that was something that was explored, albeit poorly explored, when people had those diseases and they would like roll them out onto the balcony and then they would end up dying because they would catch like a pneumonia and stuff. So it didn't really work. But the idea of like being in nature, being surrounded by trees, having that rich oxygen, putting these special plants in your house that cycles through the carbon dioxide, all that stuff is magical. But now being shown that no, it actually has these like medical properties that are really, really, really helpful. Except for crystals, guys. It doesn't do anything. I'm sorry. They're just pretty.
Your face.
Now listen. Okay? I love them.
Oh,
They
I
just
remember
help
that.
with your cell phones. Yeah, my dark crystal from
Yeah, I remember that.
the crystal shard. I know how much I freaked out.
I have a bunch of crystal skulls that are going to argue with you.
Yeah, I agree with you, Melissa. I agree with you.
That's like the woo-woo part. That's you don't need to explain that with science. There's no science behind it. That's okay. You need to see this is like 10% of what's right here.
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up Reiki. Oh, sorry.
I know, I brought that up for you, Kathy. That's why I get it from you.
Well, thank you, but I wanted to add to that. You were talking about the Cleveland Clinic and everything, and I know somebody who is a midwife. She's actually gone on and got her doctor. She is now a doctor, but she was required to take Reiki.
Their nurses
now it is a
will get
requirement.
Reiki certified.
They have to take Reiki in order to go through the process of being a midwife.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean,
it's incredible.
I love it.
The VA even has Reiki now at some of their clinics, which is
incredible.
Huge.
Yeah,
getting some of these veterans to actually go get it is
my husband's gotten it from Kathy like 2 times, and he feels great afterwards. And like a lot of that is it's interesting though. I don't think Christopher would feel the same getting Reiki from a stranger than getting it from like me or Kathy. I think it's completely different and way different with Kathy because he also feels that like maternal connection with you. So, correct. And it's a different kind of love that he receives from you. And so like he feels, and he gets a little like, he's like, I don't know. I feel good. I feel good. Like afterwards, you know what I mean? It's very sweet. Pet therapy. Oh my God. Heck yes. How pets can like literally cure our hearts and break them. I can't.
Well, you talk about Christopher coming to me too. So does my son. My son,
know.
he was a Marine, but just the same as Christopher.
Yeah.
And
Kathy, they
he
are
has,
Marines. Once a
yes,
Marine,
that's
always.
true. They are Marines. But there's the emotional, but there's also the physical ailments that come with that. And there's times Dale will just be like, "Hey, Mom, can you do a session on me?" And he feels better afterwards.
Mhm.
I mean, it's nice to be able to do that for people to make them feel good.
Oh, yeah.
So even in witchcraft, and you want to get into the pet therapy, witches have familiars. They're not always animals. There are witches that have plants, that have, believe it or not, rocks, because there's a communication of sorts.
Mhm.
So, I mean, as I say this, my chunky black cat's laying here on the floor, right next to me, that I'm going to have to be careful when I move my chair that I don't run him over. But, animals are loving things. So, whether or not there's any science behind, I would like to think their energy field, our energy field, that is trackable somehow, some way, if we know how to track that. But that communication that can happen between you and a bonded pet that you have, because let's face it, witchcraft, those familiars were supposedly sent out to do things on the witch's behalf, and it was always demonized.
Nacho would have gotten distracted on the way.
Yeah.
I want a demon familiar. I love demons. I have a humongous, like this big, a humongous spider on my chest, and I have multiple spiders like all over my body. And when I used to do like shamanic healing circles and do Reiki, a lot of the imagery that I used wasn't light coming up from the sky. It was spiders coming up from like the soil. And it used to freak people out, but I'm like, listen, I don't know what to tell you. That's what happens. And and I've converted a lot of people to stop being spider killers, which is fantastic. But I don't see it any differently as people communicating with their babies who can't talk. And I am an adopted child, so I didn't have that maternal link to my parents, but like they still knew like this cry means this noise means this, like this eye contact, this like weird hiccup or whatever means this. And you get this like communication with this thing that can't speak the same language as you, and you know what they want and you know what they need, and they know how to manipulate you by giving you puppy eyes and making you give them more snacks. And like I don't think there's anything that is different about that, but I also don't even think that there needs to be a scientific explanation for that. A lot of it's psychology. A lot of it is just, I love you. I wish, it's so funny. I always, whenever people talk about familiars, I always want to like flash you, but I'm like, not appropriate, Lauren, not appropriate. Because it's humongous. It's right here. That's okay. Next time I'm wearing I always wear very like low neck dresses so that you could see it, because she's beautiful. She's a big like garden spider. I have lots of spiders and like astronomy tattoos all over my body. But it's also like when you have that connection to the woods and you understand what the wind is saying, or I don't know what's in my throat. Who's messing with my throat, Chakra? Who's doing it?
Not I.
What am I not saying?
Yeah, I'll gather or talk a little bit while you're gathering yourself there. She's talking about the spiders and everything. And there was one time that we went to a convention together, and I had somebody on my table that knew Lauren and had asked if Lauren could come and help. Which, come on in. But what I found interesting is, if you know Reiki, sometimes you're pulling stuff out of the feet. You're pulling sometimes gunk, sometimes energies, whatever it is. But with Lauren, when Lauren's doing it, she knows that she has broken that blockage when she sees spiders crawling out. And she'll call that, yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. I was like,
people hate
spiders? I was like, oh, you see spiders? Why do you see spiders? And she explained it to me, and I was like, okay, well, that's how it works for her.
Everybody has their...
So, yeah, spiders have always been a big part of your life.
I have a young girl, a client who messaged me because she's petrified of spiders, but was having dreams repeatedly of spiders, and they were doing things. And so we had this whole session about that, and they're literally like her guides. They're helping her through things. So like, they're different colors that they are, how they weave their webs, all these things, they become very symbolic for her. So now when she sees them, she's like not freaking out, not wanting to kill them. She like now understands, like, they've literally become part of her team. She also uses them for Reiki now. So you're the only other person I've heard of with that. I have my spiders around my front door. They stay all summer. They like, everybody's like, you have huge spiders. My clients freak out. They're like, I'm not coming in. I'm like, you are, because they're my guard spiders. So you're coming in.
Are they orb weavers?
Yeah,
like big, chunky?
I have 2 of those, and there's like a whole collection of all different ones. And I talk to them whenever I leave. I say, thank you for protecting my house while I'm gone.
As you should. Like, spiders are such. That's even my. I mean, that's my logo too, and I've had my logo for years and years and years, and I'm trying to, why don't I have anything of my stuff anywhere? I don't even know, but my logo is it's a big spider, and that's all I have to say about that.
Do I personally
spiders are magical?
No. But
Oh my God!
Hang out,
you don't have any words to speak, Lauren?
I forgot where I was going with that. I could go on for 3 more hours about spiders.
Well, you have spoken in book form, because I want to touch on your book before we'll be ending here soon. You have a book about witchcraft.
I do.
Magic. And I was pulling that up earlier. It is called Dark Moonlight. And maybe Kathy has her copy, because Lauren doesn't have her copy to show.
I gave my last like 3 copies away. I need to probably order some more.
So I got to peek through Kathy's copy. There it is. And I'm like, this is great for somebody who needs good basic understanding and beginning. And I love that when you're in your writing, you're not talking down to anybody. It's almost more of like a conversation is happening. So how and where can they get your book? Because I know you mentioned you had a link.
Yes, you can get it at most of the places. It used to be on Barnes and Noble, but I don't know what they're like redoing something, but most of the book retailers, you can find it online. So like, even like Walmart, find it at Walmart online. I do have, I think it's $14.99 online usually. And I did pull up, and I will actually put it in when this is posted on Facebook. I'll put it in the comments on Facebook. I'll put a link. I have a link directly from my publisher, and you can get it for, I want to say it is a link that is for $10. I don't know how much shipping is either. It's also on Amazon. So if you have Amazon Prime, it'll be $15 and free shipping too. So
yeah, I can put, wow, it's a really,
but sometimes like support smaller, some of the online bookstores that are smaller companies than Amazon, they're on there too. So support something smaller than Amazon.
I'm guilty of being a used book person. I know that's not the best for the authors.
They have, I want to say that like Half Price Books or some of the used bookstores have a couple copies.
I love personally seeing like what the other person thought of it. Like, people that write things, like I actually look for the ones that say they might have writing in them or like marketing.
Oh yeah.
I want to see that's like one of my little quirks. Like I love to see what other people found like unique about a story or like what their notes were. So I'm like, when I look for a book, I'm like, ooh, used book.
One of my girlfriends
Sorry.
has it, and it's all highlighted, and there's like tabs in it, and it looks like a textbook. It's hilarious.
See,
there are coloring pages in this one.
Touch of autism, I don't know. You do not bend the spine of your book. You do not dog your corner. Like my books that I've had for years still look brand new, other than the aging coloring that happens.
Mine look like old haggard men.
You will not write in a book. If there's something, you either take a separate note or it is a post-it note that is in there.
Mine would
you'd collapse into a puddle at my house.
I don't know. You're buying me. They have all my there's little post-its and little flag things, and then there's like when you open them, there's like little notes written around the edges or in the back covers, and
when I have time to do like book reviews for the store, be it new or old ones that I feel like don't get enough, like I have yellow Post-it notes. And after the lives, I used to take those out, and then people started asking if I could leave those in for them, and I'm like,
Oh, you're like, no.
yeah, I'm like,
Do it
yeah, because
yourself.
you know what, that comes off the page without damaging anything,
Oh,
you
that's
know.
okay.
And I'm like, okay, but that being said, you are local in the Cleveland area, so maybe we should have you in at one point for a book signing, a talk.
I was
a
going to
book
say, I
signing.
should drop a couple off to you.
Yeah. Sin fans, come on, show it. Show on stream. How to Read a Book by Mortimer Adler cured me of treating books as sacred objects. I write in all my books, and it helps me engage with the author. I'm engaging up here. I am
You're
not
like,
reading that
no,
book.
I have no
Yeah.
books.
I don't know where this comes from, but
That's okay.
No, even
Yeah.
my Kindle books, like, you know how you can highlight stuff or save notes? Like, I have a bazillion little notes and highlights in my Kindle books. It's not
see,
just my
digital
paper
books,
It's
I have no
everywhere.
problem. I'll highlight the hell out of that. I will make notes. The physical copies, you do not
No.
But
because
it's so nice to hold the book. Like, I just like to
I'm
hold the
also
book
that
and write.
person-
And
like if I buy a journal, it's hard for me to write in it because I don't want to write sloppy. Like it could be neat, and then all of a sudden your
Nope.
hand and
I
hate-
get you on that. I get you on that. I have
I
so
do
many
too.
empty journals because I'm like, I want it to look pretty.
I
Yeah.
have, what I do is I scribble all my notes on something, you know, as, like, you know, when I'm doing my healing
And then
stuff.
transfer it.
And I transfer it, yes, because it's like all over the place with different numbers, and that didn't work, and this does, and it's just a complete mess. And
Nope,
if
I
I
get
go
that.
back to it to remake something, I don't know what the hell it says. So I have to take my complete mess and then put it very nicely into my journals. So otherwise,
I have an
my
iPad.
products I cannot remake.
I do an iPad, and all of my notebooks are in my iPad, so that I can like erase and like make it prettier, and it's perfect for school notes.
There you go.
It's great.
back to some science here. They have actually, and Lauren, you might know this or the name of the anyway. The physical act of pen or pencil to paper in note taking has been shown to help memory recall, and it sticks in memory better than typing notes or writing on digital. And I'm like, this is why, I'm like, I am still a pen and paper. Like, as we talk about topics, I'm writing because I'm like, I know me. If I were to put that on something digital, it's gone.
Let me tell you
I
something.
got 4
though.
notepads right here in front of me for different things. Like for
I have a screen cover that is the paper like, and then I have tips for my Apple Pen that is like a pencil. So I'll have to bring it in sometime. When you write on my iPad, it feels like you are writing pencil to paper. Because of the they make those paper like, and it's like thick and it has pull. And then you get these special nubs that literally just feel like a nice pencil. It's exceptional.
That's
Because
like
I couldn't.
Yeah,
that's like my remarkable.
I was gonna say, like, you're remarkable. Yeah,
My
yeah.
remarkable. I use this mainly for work.
It feels like paper and pencil.
But what's really nice too, I mean, it is like pencil, and you write on it, which is really cool.
Yep.
And if you don't like it,
those
you
are
erase
nice.
it. So, but what I like about this is you can create PDFs, and anywhere you go, you can have access to it.
Same.
So, but anyways,
I'm not
enough
that
of that.
techie.
Yeah,
I'm like
so I'm like, ooh,
old-fashioned.
almost the witchy and the whole grimoire, like the writing, down and it's sticking, and who has the most notepads?
I don't want to admit how many I have and post-it
I
pads.
have
Like,
a
I don't want to
whole
admit
drawer.
any of
I
that.
probably have the most empty ones. I do have, like, in there, I have, like, my notebooks. And those are the ones that, I write in, like, really nice. And there are, like, the pictures and the drawings and, like, the herbs and all that other stuff, too. Because it has to look pretty. It has to look magical. It doesn't have to look magical, guys. It
Oh,
really
my
doesn't.
healing notes do not. My healing notes, like nobody. Well, there's things people would be able to translate, but like if I died and people are going through my stuff, they'd be like, "What?"
They're
is
gonna be
this?
like, what? Yeah.
That's my witchy one.
I do talk about aesthetic in the book and how it's not important to your magic. Because I think a lot of people really hyperfixate on the aesthetic of witchcraft, and it's just like it doesn't matter.
No, and that's I
think
love
you
those
should have the
memes.
energy that you use. Oh, I don't know if I'm talking over somebody.
Yeah.
I lost you.
No,
guys.
I love
like,
those
that carries
memes
your
about,
energy,
like,
like what you were feeling at that point in time. So that's why I kind of like the scribbles and the different textures, and I use different color pens for different things all the time for each person. Or like this person seems like this color, that person seems like this color. So like to me, I like my chaos writing of things because it suits their healing for that day or the reading.
you know, that belief that everything needs this big ceremonial spell, this prep, this. And there was a meme going around talking about other people doing the protection, the calling and the like, the calling of the corners. And then at the bottom, it's like you dust the Cheetos off and you're like, let's get this bitch done. I'm like, yeah, I'm the bottom one. I'm like, we need to do what right now? Oh, let's go gather our shit. Like, I'm not.
Oh, yes.
doing
Chaos.
prep. I don't care where the planets are and whether or not I can do it, because the need is now, not in a week and a half. The need is now. And what do I have near me and around me that match the intention that needs to happen? So that whole aesthetic that you have to do big for it to be witchcraft, for it to actually work,
is just not necessary.
No, it don't.
Yep, I agree. But hey, Lauren, where are you going to be next week?
I don't know, Kathy. Where am I going to be next week?
One of the best conventions out there.
I will say my talk has a little bit of like woo and science mixed into it. Parapsychon at the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. I will say, because I wasn't going to announce this at all, but I guess it's witchy. And Melissa, you'll like this too. I was just like, F it. And I'm busting out 10 crystal pods right now in my workshop for Parapsychon. So, yeah, I'm like, screw it. Your girl's a broke college student. So I'm going to bust out 10 super, super sparkly, crystally crystal pods. They're proximity sensors. They're like the perfect blend of like my science and my woo. And I'm going to have those on my table. 10, that's it. And it's also the crystal pods turning 5 years old. So instead of $120, they're going to be $100.
What about your seers? Are you going to have any seers?
Hell to the no. Hell to the no.
Ah, darn.
Those things take.
We got to work together on that.
You're getting one. You're getting one. But yeah, the only unfortunate part about that is those take like 4 days to make. And I just don't have it right now.
You don't have 4 days, I understand.
Not Amy even Bruni, for me. I love her
Boy,
so
what a
much.
friend.
I love, like, Amy Bruni has one, and she just made a big post about it. So now I have people, like, stalking me for this year.
It is really cool. It is
really so cool. I'll have it to play with, but not. I'll never have those in retail. Those will all have to just be special order as I can make them.
Yeah, I know we got a whole kit coming, so.
No, yeah, there will be never any pre-orders on the Sears. There's just so, I make so much of it from scratch. So much of it. They are.
Yeah, they are. I like those. So Parapsychon, you'll be there. We have the kickoff party, which is Friday, May 6th, 15th. The Parapsychon itself is the 16th and the 17th, Saturday and Sunday. And what day
I'm speaking on Sunday.
There you go,
so
Sunday.
If you're going to go for one day, come on Sunday.
Now, the other thing about Sunday, just to let everybody know, and we did this for you, Lauren, we are actually offering a 20% off discount to a paranormal program if you pre-register your ticket for Sundays. Ooh. So if you go on to the Mansfield Reformatory's Preservation, mrps.org, and go to Sunday, May 17th, and buy a ticket, which is what you have to do to get into Parapsychon anyway, go there and buy your ticket. You will be eligible for 20% off any paranormal program for 2026. So let's just say, for example, Lauren, you want to do a private ghost hunt. You sign up, you buy your ticket on Sunday, and you get the private ghost hunt, 20% off the private ghost hunt.
Oh, what the? But I'm already going to be there Sunday.
It's a deal. So, Sunday.
Somebody invite me.
Somebody invite me. I think you know someone.
So bring the snacks.
I'll bring the
you
equipment.
might know a lady in charge of
You
the
will
whole
all be
payroll.
there. I will not be there. But I look forward to hearing about it next week.
I mean, technically, I'll be there.
You all will be. Yeah.
Upstairs.
I'll be upstairs too.
Yay! And Dave will be up there, Dave Giuliano, and I say that hopefully he'll watch it. Like, Dave, I still need a date, sir. I gotta text Dave again because I want to promote Dave's demonology.
I just saw him last weekend.
He's a great guy. I love Dave.
Like, hey, tell him to poke about the date.
I'll tell him right now about a date for. He told me for this.
Yeah.
Oh, he told me he needed to make another date.
Yeah, for his demonology class in our area.
Ooh,
Right?
we should collab on that so that I can get him some other events here that him and I can do together too. Because him and I have an event together in June in New Jersey, out his way.
Yeah, I've got the place. I can do it. I just need dates, and that's what I need from him. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's so great. Oh, here you guys are. I'm posting the link to the book. I made you guys a special Woo Woo Wednesday link. For $10 books, if anybody wants to grab one. And again, it's just
Facebook page, so we can put it on the group Facebook page.
I was going to say, I'm going to put it in the comments so you can share it. And then it is like Melissa, like you said, it's very approachable, and it's whether you just want to find a way to like simplify your practice or start a new practice, or if you're some people are trying to not demystify. What am I saying? Pull back from, like, if you don't want to practice in your current religion, or if you're trying to deconstruct your beliefs or anything like that, it still gives you a really good, just like foundation that isn't deity focused, hyper fixating on necessarily spirituality. It's about growing a relationship with yourself and growing a practice with like neutrality with yourself. And that's kind of where I used to do a lot of workshops at a spiritual practice studio that I owned. And a lot of it was just about like finding yourself and finding a relationship with yourself and realizing it's okay to understand that like you're the magic, not the jars, not the herbs, not the rocks. You can be magical without anything in your possession. And that's really like the core of what Dark Moonlight was about. And there's coloring pages.
Perfect.
Coloring pages.
That's my kind of book.
And recipe pages in the back for like really approachable, like fun little spells that you can just kind of like do just to get yourself warmed up. It's fun. Great kids book. Actually, it's funny. I have a lot of like teenagers that like their parents have bought that for them, which I think is really sweet.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, it's after 11, and I'm sure we all have somewhere to be. Like,
it's 11:11.
It is.
Perfect.
My client is texting my phone. I'm at your door, and I'm like, sorry, you're like,
we'll be there in a second.
Like, hope you're dry.
Thank you, guys.
And I'm like, sorry.
Yes. Thank you, Lauren, and would love to have you back. Maybe we can do some astronomy in some sort of witchcraft working. There are coloring pages in the book. Yes.
Oh, yes. And they're beautiful.
Real quick before I forget, Melissa, Lauren is also always looking for a location to be able to do stargazing with a little bit. Yeah, so keep that in mind too.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can do star talks like under the actual sky.
Ooh, nice.
Say no more. I love astronomy, not astrology.
Astronomy.
Yes, the M, not the G. um, but well, thanks for joining, Lauren. I will
Thank you, Lauren.
have Kathy maybe rope you in for coming back. We'll plan some topics and things that you might want to
Ropey.
talk about under the woo woo umbrella as well. And but thanks for joining, guys. Have a great week. Stay safe, stay warm, depending on where you're at. 'Cause if you're in
Stay
Ohio,
I haven't been
woo.
here yet.
yeah,
Stay
stay
woo.
woo.
More
We
snow.
reclaim the woo. Woo woo is a great thing.
Stay
So
wooey. Yeah.
right.
I hope you
All
guys all
right,
do
guys.
awesome next weekend. I look forward to hearing about it.
Yes. Also, we will be taking the week off next week. We all have a lot of events going on, and
all
you know what?
chaos.
Sometimes you just have to rest and
Yeah.
stay sane. So we will see you guys in 2 weeks. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you, Lauren. Bye.
Bye, thank you.